Okay. Oh, looks a little bit dark in here. I can fix that. So, hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so we're back here tonight for pretty easy build here tonight. We'll knock it out nice and fast. This is a budget gaming PC. Just under $1,000 Australian. So yeah, what do you get? Let's go through our components. So don't mind this motherboard here. It is brand new. It had damaged packaging, so a little bit cheaper there, but it's brand new and under warranty. So that is a Gigabyte B550M DS3H AC. I believe it's revision 1.3, which means it does have the addressable RGB headers. We'll have a look at that a little bit more. I got a 32 gigabyte kit of Silicon Power 3200 MHz CL16 memory. I have an RTX 3050 here. I have a Crucial P1 that I opened the other day. I needed a spare SSD, so we'll be using that one there. I've got a Gigabyte P650 SS power supply. So this is an 80 plus silver model. It has a 3-year warranty. Decent power supply for the price. We got a Ryzen 5500 6-core 12-thread CPU. I've got a group of Lian Li high static pressure fans that I'm going to chuck in for free. And we've got, oh, what's this case called? This is the Asus Spectra case. So pretty basic, just has a non-addressable RGB fan in the back there. I believe there's some RGB lighting there on the front, I believe. Maybe not. No, I haven't used this case before. It's just basically the cheapest case you can get right now. You can get cheaper ones, but it's like, you know, $5 cheaper, and it doesn't have anywhere near the airflow dynamics that this thing has. So I guess the only thing to worry about with the case here is just making sure that it's the right size for the hardware that you want to install in it. So it looks like you can do a 240mm radiator up top. You could do a 360mm radiator up front as well, but the problem with that is that will reduce the length of the graphics card that you could potentially install in this case. So you gotta be careful when it comes to your dimensions and stuff. I don't believe, yeah, no, there's no room for fans behind the grate. The fans and the radiator have to sit here, so there's like just enough room, just enough. So yeah, if that was installed like that, you're going to be pretty limited on GPU options. So something to consider there. The rest of it, I'll open up the back here as well so you can see. So pretty basic setup. What have we got there? There's no hard drive mounts up top. There is the tray down the bottom, which you can fit. You could fit an SSD to it. You can fit two 3.5-inch hard drives, one on the top, one inside. So yeah, not really a great deal of SATA support, but I mean, these days we're using SATA less and less, other than for hard drives, really. So yeah, decent little case there. So these fans will go up front there. But let's have a look at the motherboard. So, got it there on our screen. Okay, so I'm going to have a look around. I'm going to start with the power up the top, and I'm going to make my way around the board there so you can follow along. So up the top there we've got our 8 pins of CPU power there. In the center there we've got obviously our AM4 socket. So these CPUs have physical pins on them. The socket is like a female for those pins. So it's pretty robust, you know, it's pretty hard to damage these things, but it's fairly easy to damage the pins on the CPU though. They are repairable because it's just gold, it's just a conductive material, so provided you don't snap the pins off, if you just bend them, you can bend them back in place very, very carefully. I use like you know, something like a guitar pick, something about that size. It's just enough to kind of get in there and just delicately bend those pins back in place. Up the top there, this little grey header, that's our CPU fan header. And this is one thing this board definitely lacks, is fan headers. We've only got 1, 2, 3, including the CPU fan. Dual channel memory across the 4 slots there. And we actually got a total of 5 RGB headers on this board. 2 5-volt and 3 12-volt. Seems a bit redundant. We've got our CMOS battery there on the side, just below our motherboard power. That takes 2032 batteries. Got 4 SATA ports there. Got a flash BIOS button down the bottom there. We've got our speaker and front panel connectors. We've got these 2 little pins just above the front panel there, the clear CMOS header. We've got a USB 3.2 header, a USB 2. We've got a COM port header, a TPM header, front panel audio, dual M2 slots, a PCIe X16, and an X4 and an X1. And then around the back here we've got a total of 6 USB ports, including 8 USB ports, including 4 Type 3s and 4 Type 2s. We have a I'm having a mental blank here. I'm seriously having a mental blank here of the old school. I want to say, is it PS2? Jesus Christ, I'm losing my edge, guys. We've got a DVI header there, a HDMI. We're not going to use them though because we're going to be plugging into our graphics card. If you plug into them, you won't get anything because this CPU doesn't even have onboard graphics. We've got our Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 5, I believe, gigabit LAN, and our audio outputs. So pretty decent little board, you know, for what it is. It is obviously AM4, so it is older tech, but it still goes really, really good. If you're on a budget, you know, this is fine. You can always buy this, you know, and then you can look at doing some upgrades to it over time, you know. Buy this with a 3050 and then, you know, save up a bit of money and get yourself a you know, a 4060 and a you know, go get yourself a 5600X or something like that. Would be a nicer CPU to pair with some of those more modern graphics cards. So as you can see here, got our AM4 chip here with all the nice little pins on the bottom of it. I'm not sure how well you can see that there, but it's very, very shiny. There's a little golden triangle on the edge of the CPU. There's a little triangle symbol on the edge of the socket there, so you know you're putting it in the correct way, and it should just sort of drop in place there, and then just press the arm down. Pretty easy stuff. we're not going to be using the standard AM4 brackets. I don't know how many of those freaking brackets I've chucked away in my life, eh? Fucking hell. Alrighty. So with these AM4 stock coolers, it's the same ones for AM5 as well. I like to wrap the cable sort of around the bolts there. Just kind of keeps it nice and tidy. And depending where your CPU fan is, you might want to getting ahead of myself. So it's always best to start them all off before you tighten them all down. If you tighten one down all the way at first, then it'll be really hard to get the other three in place. It's a case of doing it nice and evenly. Okay, so what I was saying is, if you've got to go a little bit further, you can just sort of double it back a little bit. There we go. So as you can see there, that looks nice and neat. There's no ugly cables sticking out. You might be like, oh, that doesn't matter, Tim, you know, it's just a cable, blah, 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 blah. But little thing like that will, you know, you'll be happy, you know, 6 months down the track. Because if you do it and have this freaking cable sticking out, you're gonna see it every time you turn on your PC. And you don't want to be looking at some freaking skanky cable sticking out every time you go to turn on your PC. You will get over it. Just a silicon power memory. Silicon power is pretty good. They are known for their memory and SSDs primarily. Alrighty, so we'll put this one in the bottom slot there, just so the top slot's free if you want to add another SSD. Okay, so we've got our rear I/O shield there. Okay, what do we got? Have to move some offsets around. Oh, I think we'll have to add some as well. Because yeah, they only have the bolts installed for a small ATX board. So yeah, you can get small ATX boards that they're the same height, but they're thinner. They only take 6 bolts instead of the ordinary 9 that you'd be familiar with most ATX boards. Very good. Okay, so first things first. Okay, so these fans here have come out of a Lian Li Hydra Shift cooler, the stock fans that come with them. So from a very high-end rig into a budget PC. Just because I had them spare, and this is a return customer, so we always try to, obviously as most businesses do, we look after our return customers. Oh. Aha. So, let me just put that one back for a sec. So to install fans on the front of it, you actually need to move your 3.5-inch drive tray into another position. So you got to actually go under the case here. You got to take these 2 bolts off, and then this slides out. And once you line it up, there we go. And the other point to note with that is if you did want to try to put a 360mm radiator in this case, you will actually have to remove this SATA tray completely. So that's a big downside for some people. But I would say that if you're buying a rig that has a 360mm radiator, I think you can afford a slightly more expensive case. This is, this is a budget build, and this is for people who, as the name would suggest, are on a budget. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to need 12 fan bolts. We've got to screw them in from the front here. just start by doing 2 fans at a time on opposite corners. The hell? That screw was like too thin for these fans. What the hell? What? That is so weird. There must be like a slight, maybe like a bit of rubber's fallen out of that fan or something. It'll be fine. Okay, so we've got a few fans going on there. We've got our rear I/O shield, we've got our offsets in the correct position. So let's chuck in a board. And back when I was a kid, that was about all that you could hope for, eh? Is the motherboard, CPU with onboard graphics. Don't have money for any of those fancy graphics cards in the 90s. See, consoles were just so much cheaper compared to playing on computers back in the day. It used to be super expensive in the 90s. Like, you adjust it for inflation, it's insane. Okay, so what are we doing with these cables? Pretty straightforward. You don't need any fancy cable management. I will notice that the cables are coming in at the bottom there. That USB 3 can just go straight down the side, but these cables here, yeah, these cables up there, we definitely want them. Can you see? We definitely want them up the top there, coming through that hole, because we don't want to see. We want to try to minimize as much of these cables on the front side as possible. If you have a few cables at the back, don't worry about it. You're not going to see it most of the time. And the less cable ties you use, the easier it is to work on. There's a joke in the PC world that, you know, a new builder will spend, you know, an hour getting all the cables perfectly zip tied and everything out back, and they'll be really proud of their electrical work. But the problem is that as soon as a fan breaks or something and you've got to replace it, you got to cut out like a heap of cable ties. And we're all fallible as humans, right? And it's pretty easy to accidentally cut a cable when you're cutting out cable ties. So I try to just minimize that as much as possible, because, you know, that's why you get so much room to do all the cable management. Another thing here, you can always route your cables behind the back of the motherboard. Not thick power cables, but these USB ones can fit at the back there without any problem. Same with your front panel cables here. So our power, we got our HD LED. Then we got our power LED, and just think of a car battery. Positive on the left, negative on the right. That's how you get it right every time. Okay. Beauty. And our USB 3.2, that can just come up from the bottom here. USB cable's a bit too thick to route behind the motherboard safely, so you're best to not do that. Okay, so I just got one fan header for these three fans. Okay. Power supply time. Everything else is in place. Alrighty. So Gigabyte have done it tough over the last 5 years when it comes to power supplies. There was a massive batch of bad Gigabyte power supplies in North America. Didn't affect us in Australia. Well, you know, it didn't affect us in Australia, but because of the internet and everyone's an expert, they saw, you know, what's that D-bag's name on YouTube? Oh, I can't even think. Douchebag with the long hair always like says some controversial shit. I'm a hardware unboxed man myself. I think those guys are a good source of information. Moore's Law's Dead, another good source of information. But yeah, stay away from, you know, Linus Tech Tips and this guy, I'm spacing on his name as well. I think I'm a bit tired tonight. Okay. I don't think I need any beers when I finish this tonight. I think I can just go straight to bed. Pretty sure this will just be a 8-pin. Or is it not require any auxiliary? Ah, no auxiliary. Well, that makes it easy, doesn't it? Okay, so we really only need 1, 2, and then the rest of this stuff. I think there's one SATA cable, one SATA power connector for our rear fan and the RGB on our case. The case definitely has RGB, so yeah, you don't even need to cable tie these cables. You can just get them into a nice neat bunch and just kind of tuck them away down there. That's the best way to deal with that. Got that single SATA power that can plug in there. Just remember, the less cable ties you use, the more serviceable it is. Alright, we're going to need so we're going to need one cable tie, and that's just to stop visibility of some of these thin cables, because yeah, we don't want to. We don't want to see any of that, basically. Okay. So yeah, the twin cable there, just sort of, this is the CPU, just sort of bend it in shape. You don't have to tie this down if you don't want to. It's not really a big deal if you do. But as long as it looks nice and neat up front, you've done it right. And then yeah, you can just tuck that power cable around the lip of your case there. And then finally, we just have our CPU power. So there's only one hole that we can use there for that, and that's this bad boy over here. And it's actually got to come up a bit. Just like that. Okay. Dropped a bolt. Okay. Alrighty. Let's check that out. Nice and clean. And that's what it should look like. If you're seeing cables freaking everywhere and all that, you might want to go and revisit your cable management. Okay, so let's see if this thing even bloody works. Now I know I say that every time I build a PC, but it's freaking true. Because I built enough of these freaking things to know that everything has a non-zero failure rate. So even if you buy the most expensive parts, it's not guaranteed that something won't fail. Oh, we do have RGB on the front, look at that. So that looks pretty sick for what it is, right? Oh, there we go. You gonna play ball? I was just about to hit clear CMOS. Just about to do it. Just checking the comments. Yes, Gamers Nexus. Yeah. Never was a fan of him. Hardware Unboxed. Moore's Law's dead. Yeah, absolutely. A few other people here as well. Hey everyone. Damn, wish I had some cash to do this. Yeah, I know. It's freaking rough out there, man. Had the wrong one plugged in. Oh. Alrighty. So do Windows 10 Pro. Windows 10 is coming to an end, guys. And it means that all PCs are going to get $10 more expensive now. I know, right? $10. How will anyone survive? No, it's the license for Windows 11 is $10 more expensive. So I normally just do Windows 10 because it's a free upgrade to Windows 11, and then I can save everyone $10 off their PC, which doesn't sound like much, but because it's pretty rough out there, every dollar matters. So yeah, this is about 1,000 Aussie dollars for this thing. And yeah, good starter. It's got a 650 watt power supply, so you can put a better graphics card in it. You can upgrade your CPU to one of the better AM4 chips. Hello? It just needed me to touch the USB. Restart now. So yeah, once you do that first bit of the Windows install, you can actually remove your USB. It's not needed anymore. Okay. I don't have internet. What are you talking about? I'm in Australia, you know. It's still 1980 here. That'd be kind of cool, right? I wish I could know what I know now and go back to 1980 and just have a do-over. Oh. Wouldn't that be awesome, right? Start from 1980 again. Know exactly what to buy and exactly when to bail out. Buy a house for like $20,000 that's worth $1 million today. Sometimes several million. Some of those places in Sydney. Fuck. Even Brisbane right now, like inner city, is just ridiculous. How's anyone meant to afford, you know? Oh yeah, sweet. You're on $150,000 a year. Well then, yeah, okay, maybe just be able to afford some of these places. Oh, and it's like you need to house like people to work at the fucking restaurants and the takeaway places and freaking everywhere else, shops and stuff like that, to support those people who are earning the big bucks and buying the expensive houses. Like they've got to live in that area too. So okay, so before we get online and stuff like that, we'll go ahead and install our graphics card drivers. I always put down some custom desktop icons that I create, just to keep everything nice and tidy instead of installing all this crap. Alright, so offline install. So I'm just selecting everything that we can install offline. Oh, not that. Alright, so this is all just basic stuff. Crystal Disk Info and Crystal Disk Mark. Let you see the status of your SSDs and test their read-write speeds, etc. AMD Ryzen Master is the CPU utility for AMD CPUs. Oh, that didn't want to install. I'll try it again. It might need internet now for some reason. Firmarks for our stress testing. And these are our benchmarks that we run so that you can compare this system to other systems. Okay, it looks like our graphics card. Okay. Alright, let's give it a quick restart. Okay. So I forgot to get the drivers. So I'm going to have to go and get them manually. So we'll download Gigabyte Control Center. MSI Afterburner. Everyone should have MSI Afterburner. Okay. Oh, went right past it. Alright. So everything's all installing there. It's just going to take a little bit to download because, you know, my internet's shit. Alright, so now we can update our settings in MSI Afterburner and we can run some gaming benchmarks. I don't think there's much point doing that for a 3050, they don't get very hot. So all I'm doing here is just setting up what statistics we see on our on-screen display. You can follow along and do this to your own computer. Oh. So the one without a number there is just the CPU total. Okay, that's all good to go. I'm just waiting on our Gigabyte drivers. That's coming along. Alright, let's where are we? Let's start by running Heaven here on high, no anti-aliasing. Turn the volume down or I get fucking... get demonetized. Or goes to frickin' DistroKid, if you know who DistroKid is. So if anyone uses this fucking, runs this benchmark and plays the music live, you'll get a DistroKid notification that DistroKid's going to claim all any money and revenue from your video because it has the song. Yep, that's how it works. So what you see on the screen there, GPU in green, temperature, usage, clock speed, wattage, that's our graphics card. MEM in green, that's our VRAM on our graphics card, the usage and the clock speed. CPU there in blue, that's our CPU obviously. Temperature, usage, clock speed, wattage. RAM there, that's our RAM utilization, and this number here below RAM, that's how many frames per second it's currently running at. Small dog. Has Christine not given you anything yet? You want something, don't you? What do you want? Can you tell me what you want? Is it time? Hey? Yeah, I know. Very small. Hey. Do you want... is it time? Hey, is it time? You just have to wait. Yeah. Small. Alrighty, so that was Heaven there on high with no anti-aliasing. Okay, so before we run the next one, So don't worry about these command prompt screens, that's just the Gigabyte installer doing some stuff. Not getting hacked. I remember when I was young, I'd see CMD come up, even if just flashed for a second. I wouldn't know what the problem was, but I'd instantly be like, someone's trying to hack me, man. So Gigabyte Control Center is just a utility that makes it easier to download your drivers and keep everything up to date. You don't have to go in and manually look up your motherboard on Gigabyte's website and all that, and it can be complicated because there could be different revisions of the same motherboard. It might look the same, it might have the same model number, but if you read the little sticker on the side of the box, you'll see that it says revision, 1.5 or something like that, and the drivers could be completely different to revision 1.3. So it can be quite complicated and frustrating to update your drivers sometimes. And yeah, Gigabyte Control Center will make that a lot easier for you. Chipset driver there. So if you want to make sure your drivers are all installed properly, well, hang on, we're on Windows 10, aren't we? Let's go into Device Manager. There we go, it looks like everything, at least some driver is installed for everything there. This will just be updates. Sweet. With all these PowerShell screens and CMD screens coming up, I won't be able to run the gaming benchmarks till this is done. I need to get Cinebench. Just have to wait. Alright, so let's run Valley now. Ultra, max anti-aliasing. So Valley's a more demanding benchmark. Even if we were running it on the same settings as Heaven, it's much more demanding. So we're going to see a lower frame rate with this one. But yes, that's to be expected. Valley's got some nice calming music if you're into that. So I just seen a post reply here from Anik. He just asked, is a Cooler Master 750 watt MWE V3 PSU good? I run a Ryzen 5 7600 and a 5060 Ti. Please respond. You got knowledge about PCs and it would help me out a ton in deciding a PSU. Okay, so look, if you don't know too much about power supplies, I recommend shopping by warranty. Okay, if you want something that's good quality, it should have a 3-year warranty. Avoid anything that's got a 12-month warranty. That's the bare minimum that the company has to provide by law. So that's basically everyone's got to have a 1-year warranty. 3-year warranty, that's a much better quality power supply. That's like the one we've got here. Looking at your 5-year warranty ones, you're stepping up again, and then the maximum, the best tier ones are the ones with 10-year warranties. So you can pretty much tell the quality of it just based on that warranty. If you want to do some extra research and double check and sense check what you're seeing, yeah, be free to do that. But like I said, you know, if company's giving a 10-year warranty on a product, it's pretty good quality. Don't ever shop for a power supply based on the efficiency rating. That's the 80 plus rating, because there's a lot of really poor quality 80 plus gold power supplies. Companies realize that customers see 80 plus gold and they think it's a great quality power supply. They think that gold is like, you know, they start to connect dots that, you know, should never be connected, essentially. So, yeah. I would look at the other thing you can do. There's a website called Cybernetics. And if you just Google Cybernetics power supply ranking, you should be able to find a page where they've got heaps of power supplies that they've tested and given an actual quality rating of. So not an 80 plus rating, this is an actual quality rating based on the actual hardware that's inside the power supply. So yeah, definitely check that out if you want some more info, but honestly, I don't think the average person needs to go that far. All you need to do is shop by warranty and you'll be pretty much safe. Just avoid those ones that only have a 12-month warranty. Make sure it's a minimum 3-year warranty, because if you buy motherboard, CPU, graphics card, these components all have a 3-year warranty from factory. If you have a power supply that's 3-year warranty, your power supply is in line with the rest of your components, so you can sort of sit easy knowing that your whole system is under warranty there. And I think Valley's actually run through twice here, so sorry about that. Alright. So do a quick restart. We'll run the superposition, our 4K benchmark, and then we can go and do the stress test, and that'll be it. Okay. Alright, nearly done. So yeah, if anyone has a question, they ask it in the live chat, and I don't respond. It's just I haven't read it. If I don't respond to your message, send me a message on Facebook. That's the easiest way. I try to respond to Facebook messages within 24 hours. So okay. All right. Oh. like to know exactly whose lab this is kind of modelled after. I think it's all just drawn together from random different bits and pieces. But yeah, this is a machine that can control gravity. We haven't really had much success with that. Okay. Yep, one more Windows update there, that's fine. Where are we? Stress test time. Alrighty. Set this up for a 90-minute run. Oh, I need hardware monitor. Because this is going to track our temperatures and everything. Okay. So our CPU there up at 80 degrees, that's pretty normal. You can get up to 95 degrees, so this is actually decently under temp. Cinebench is really, really demanding, so our graphics card, GPU there can get up to 83 degrees, memory and hotspot up to 110 degrees, so no big deal there now. Oh, what happened there? I'll do it manually then. Okay, so yeah, this is where we leave it. Well, that CPU's getting a bit warm, isn't it? It's getting right up to temp. Fan's spinning. I reckon I know what it is though. I reckon the fan speed setting's wrong in BIOS. Let's restart and double check that. Okay. Yeah, no, there's no issues. There's no issues with it. We're straight back down to 47C. Let's just make sure that that's running at peak efficiency for us. Like it's not really the end of the world or anything like that for it to get up to temp running Cinebench. It is pretty demanding. Sometimes you need to specify PWM or DC, it can make a difference. Yep. Yeah, no, that's all fine. Always good to double check things like that. So yeah, we just let this one run for the next 90 minutes. We'll log those temps, double check everything. But I don't think there's any issues with this bad boy. So, what do we got here? Oh, Brant's asking about undervolt and overclock his laptop GPU. Oh, dude. I mean, you can do it on PC. Doing it on laptops is even dicier. You know, it's more tightly controlled with powers and voltages. So, in general, just don't muck around with it. Honestly, it's only gonna make a small amount of difference. Undervolt, if you've got problems with temp, give that a go. But I wouldn't bother trying to overclock it, to be completely honest. Even if you undervolt it first, it's just going to be more unstable for you, unfortunately. But yeah, feel free to give it a go and all that. But yeah, like I said, it's one of those things. You want to overclock, you get yourself an X870 motherboard and a decent CPU, a good power supply. You can play around and have all the fun in the world doing that. But laptops, yeah, nah, I don't recommend it personally. But yeah, that should be it. So look, I think that's where we'll leave it for tonight. So thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.